Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. In this video, we will be talking about a topic which is known as searching for solutions. So in my previous videos, we talked about well-defined problems and how a real-world problem as well as a toy problem can be represented using the well-defined problem components. Okay, now so having formulated some problems, we now need to solve them. So initially it comes with problem formulation, and then once the problem is formulated we have to solve that particular problem. Okay, now this solving part is basically done using search through a state space. So search through a state space. The state space basically refers to a set of states from which we can find out possible solutions. Okay, so we will look into this with a certain example, of course, but we have to understand that we have different set, we have a set of different states here, and out of this which particular states would be used in order to take up that particular solution or solve that problem basically depends upon the type of algorithm that we use or the type of strategy that we use. Now, talking about searching techniques. So search, if we are considering searching through a state space, essentially this search will come with certain techniques. There has to be certain techniques which are associated with these searches for solution. The search is not simply search, this is search for solutions, and they will be associated with certain techniques. And these techniques are primarily dependent upon search trees. So what are these search trees basically? These search trees are the techniques which are used to solve a particular problem or provide solution to a problem. And how are these search trees generated? These search trees are generated using the initial state plus the successor function. Sorry, the spelling is not correct. So successor function. Now we have already talked about successor function and we will not be going again into details about it. You can always refer to the previous video. Now this initial state and successor functions together, they will be defining the state space. Okay, they will be defining the state space for which we will have to create this search trees. Okay, so basically your state space would be having all of these initial state and the successor function, and based on this you will be building up the search trees. Now in general we may have a search graph rather than a search tree when the same state can be reached from multiple paths. If you are considering a particular graph and suppose I have to reach from point A to point B and I have multiple routes via which I can move from A to B. So this is basically known as the search graph instead of a search tree. So it depends entirely upon the states which are available in order to classify the problem as a search tree based problem or a search graph based problem. Now if we can refer back to the previous example where there was a tourist who was basically in Arid and he has to move to Bucharest in order to catch a flight which was scheduled for the next day. Now when we are handling this particular example, the root of this search tree basically is the Arid. Okay, so this is the root, and so this we all know that a tree has root and different nodes and the leaf nodes. So the root of the search tree, suppose if we are considering a search of route from Arid to Bucharest, the root of the search tree basically is known as a let me separate out the color. Yes, it will be known as the search node. Okay, so this is the point from which the search starts, or this is the initial point or initial node of the entire problem. Okay, so when we are considering the initial state or the search node, it will be essentially in array. So this is basically our search node. Okay, the first step is to test whether this particular state is a goal state or not. So in array, is this a goal state? No, this is not a goal state. Our goal state is somewhere here, which is Bucharest, and it is important to check so that we can solve the tricky problems like starting in array and getting to array. Okay, now because this is not a goal state, we need to consider some other states. And how do we consider some other states? We can consider some other states simply by expanding the search node. Okay, now if we are considering this search for other states, this will be done using expanding the initial state. So if we remember, or if you go back to the previous video also, you will understand that we can expand this particular point by using the successor function of this particular state, right? So when we are applying successor function to the current state, it will create, so let me create, this is, let's say, the successor function. Okay, so when we are applying successor function to this particular point, it will be generating new set of states, where while expanding array, I can reach up to Sibiu. Okay, so Sibiu is another point. Then I can reach up to Zerind maybe. And the third point, I can reach up to, let's say, Timisoara. Right? So these are the three different points which I will be able to reach when I am applying successor function to the initial state. And it will generate these three new states. So when I am doing this particular activity or particular expansion, I am getting three different states, which is in Sibiu, in Zerind, or in Timisoara. So these are the three different states, new states that has to be generated. Okay, now we must choose which of these three possibilities to consider further. So this will be entirely dependent upon the programmer to choose which point will give it the most effective route. This is the essence of search, following up one option now and putting the others aside for later, in case the first choice does not lead to solution. So suppose I consider that I am considering Sibiu as my point, next point. That means the car would travel from Arid to Sibiu, and based on certain factors that from Sibiu I might be able to reach Bucharest at a faster rate. However, the other factors are kept aside just for a backup, or in case the first choice, which is Sibiu, does not help us to reach up to Bucharest. And how will I understand whether Sibiu, on selecting Sibiu I will reach to Bucharest or not? For this, again, the next step would be I will be doing the goal test. Okay, so if this is the goal, then I will be selecting, if this is the goal, my search ends here. If it is not the goal, I will go on repeating the steps recursively, okay, until and unless I reach the goal state. Now suppose in between I do not have any, if on reaching Sibiu I find that I cannot associate any successor function to it, that means Sibiu will not be the correct choice and I will select the next possible choice which is already there. right? So we can choose any of the options which are there, and this choice of which state to expand is determined by the search strategy. Okay, so this expansion, basically this entire phenomenon or entire process, we call it as the search strategy. This will be following certain parameters, certain costs, and then it will lead up to which point I should be expanding in the first place. Now it is very, very important to distinguish between the state space and the search tree. For root finding problem, that is, if we consider this problem itself, let us consider that there are 20 points in this entire map. That means from Arid to Bucharest, there are 20 different cities through which the tourist can travel. So in the state space, there will be 20 states, but there can be infinite number of paths in the state space, right? So suppose here, if I am considering, let's say from Arid to Bucharest, there are 3 different cities. So in the state space will consist of 3 different cities. However, there might be multiple routes from which I can move from Arid to Bucharest. Let's say from Arid I can move directly to Zerint and then go to Bucharest, right? I can also move from Arid to Timisoara, then to Zerint, and through Zerint I can move to Bucharest, right? So these are 2 different alternative ways. Likewise, I can move from Sibiu to Bucharest directly, or from Sibiu via Zerint to Bucharest, or from Sibiu via Zerint via Timisoara to Bucharest. So likewise, your search tree can have multiple number of options to choose from. So search space will definitely have 3, and search tree will have multiple number of options, infinite number of paths in this entire state space. Okay, now if we are considering any algorithm, we have to consider these factors also. That means we also have to consider the various types of options which are there in order to find out the route. Obviously, a good search algorithm will avoid following repeated paths, and even though if it is not a very, very efficient algorithm, it will be leading us up to the solution based on these 2 parameters only. Now, talking about nodes. So this is my search node, right? And this is my goal node. In between, I have several nodes, right? So how do we represent these nodes? So talking about these nodes, we definitely have a state of this node, and this state is basically the state in the state space to which the node corresponds. So it is a node in the state space. Let's say it is basically a state in the state space to which the node corresponds. Now the second one we have is the parent node. Now, as the name already suggests, it is basically the node which has generated the current node. So this is basically like the parent of a current node, from where that particular node has been expanded. The next one is the action, and the action represents the action that was applied to the parent to generate the node. So this is basically the action to the parent to generate the node. And we also have path cost. Now path cost, typically it is represented using g of n, okay, and it is the path from initial state. So it is basically the path from the initial state to the node. Okay, suppose I have multiple number of nodes and I'm considering only this and this node, so basically it will be having the cost which is from the initial state to that current node. And finally we will have the depth. So we definitely have a size of the tree or a depth of the tree. This is basically the number of steps along the path, number of steps along the path from initial state. So these are some of the points that are used in order to define a particular node. And it is important to remember the distinction between nodes and states, because a node is basically a bookkeeping data structure which is used to represent the search tree. A state, on the other hand, it will correspond to a configuration of the world. So that is why nodes are on particular paths as defined by parent node pointers, while the states are not, right? So furthermore, two different nodes can contain the same world state. Now that also we will be talking about in some later point of time. Now we have to understand that we can represent the collection of nodes which has been generated but it is not yet expanded, and this entire thing can be represented using a particular collection which is known as fringe, and each element of the fringe is basically a leaf node. Okay, so if we are considering, let's say our previous example, arret. Okay, so after expanding arret, what do I get? I get CBU, then I get Timisoara, as well as I get Zerinde. So these are the three different cities that my traveler would be able to encounter when he expands the current point, that means his current location, right? And this particular collection of nodes which has been generated but not yet expanded, so this collection is basically known as the fringe. This is known as the fringe, and each element of the fringe is a leaf node. So this we can consider as a leaf node. Okay, so this is a fringe. Even if I am if I go on expanding, let's say I go on expanding CBU. So CBU, if it has another 4 different cities, let's say arret, because arret is connected to CBU. Then we have 3 new cities which is Fagares, and then say Oradea, as well as let's say Rimique. So this I have expanded now. The CBU part I have expanded. So which is the fringe now? Basically this will no longer be the fringe because I have already expanded one of its node, right? So now the fringe will be shifted to this part, and now this will be known as fringe, and the leaf nodes are basically the nodes of the fringe. So this we have to remember, right? So we have talked about searching strategy, we have talked about search techniques, we have talked about search nodes, we have talked about how to represent the different nodes, okay, and we also have talked about fringes and the leaf nodes. Now we have to have certain problem solving performance measures. That means, as we have already discussed about artificial intelligent agent. So when we are talking about an agent, there was also a factor which was known as a performance measure. So here also we need to actually understand what type of measuring performance measure that are related to problem solving. So measuring problem solving performance, in order to measure this performance, what should be done? We have to associate certain factors. Basically, the output of a problem solving agent or problem solving algorithm is either failure or a solution. So whenever we have a problem in hand and we want to solve that problem, either we will be capable of solving it or it will be leading us to failure, right? So either a failure or a solution. Now, some algorithms might get stuck in infinite loop and never return an output. In that case also, we will consider that the algorithm is a failure. Now, how can we evaluate the algorithm's performance? So, algorithm's performance can be evaluated in 4 different ways. The first one is completeness. The second is optimality. The third is time complexity, and the fourth one is space complexity. Space complexity. So these are the 4 different parameters which will be judging the performance of an algorithm. So how good our algorithm is, it can be judged by this. So whenever we are talking about completeness, basically it is understood that is the algorithm guaranteed to find a solution when there is one. Suppose I have a solution to a problem, whether that algorithm can find that solution or not. So this is basically pertaining to the factor which is known as completeness. The second one is optimality. So optimality is that whether the strategy that we are adopting would find the optimal solution. So talking about optimal solution, we have to understand that optimality, it can be in terms of anything. It can be in terms of time, it can be in terms of various cost. Okay, so the step cost as well as the other cost. So basically, if we are talking about optimality in algorithms, it is the lowest path cost among all solutions. Okay, so if we are saying that there is a solution present, whether that strategy is capable of finding the optimal solution. So when we are talking about optimal solution, it means that generally it means that we have to find the solution with the lowest path cost. The third one is the time complexity. So how long does it take to find the solution? So how long, basically this question is understood by the factor as time complexity, and once we can find out that particular aspect, that whether it is taking the minimum amount of time or more time in order to find the solution, based on that we will be judging our algorithm's performance. And second and the last part is how much memory, that means how much space is the algorithm occupying and how much space does it need to process the different factors associated with the algorithm, right? So these are the 4 different parameters through which we can actually judge whether the algorithm is best suited in order to solve that particular problem or not. Now there are several other factors which are also known as branching factor, and in AI, where the graph is represented implicitly by the initial state and successor function and is frequently infinite. So complexity is expressed in terms of 3 different quantities, which is the branching factor, the maximum numbers of successors in any node, and depth of the shallowest goal node, and maximum length of any path of the state space. So these three factors, branching factor, the depth, as well as the length of any path, so these three factors are also there, which are associated in those graphs, which are represented implicitly by initial state and successor function, and basically if they are infinite, so we have to consider these three factors. The three factors are branching factor, the depth of the shallowest goal node, and the maximum length, which is also represented as D, B and L. So these three factors are also there. And to assess the effectiveness of any search algorithm, if we consider just the search cost, which typically depends on the time complexity but also can include a term for memory usage, or we can use the total cost, which combines the search cost and the path cost of the solution found, it is sufficient to assess the effectiveness. Okay, so search cost is another factor that is associated with this measuring the problem solving performance. So all of this collectively, they basically form the performance criteria of an algorithm, search algorithm, in order to find out the best possible solution, right? So this is all for today's video. We have already talked about several factors which are related to problem solving. In my next video, we will be starting off with the different search strategies, and we will be starting off the searching strategies with the uninformed searches. So that is all for this video. Thank you.